Hey
Uh,
David, how are you?
hey Bruno, I'm great, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thanks for asking. Do
Yeah,
you mind if
I'm really
we?
ex-
Sorry, what's that?
I'm really excited to go through your human design today.
Yeah. Okay, good. Then let's do it then.
My man. Yeah, so I got your chart here. I'll share
Yeah.
my screen with you. So you can see here's
Mm-hmm.
Bruno, the main man.
Yeah.
As you can see, there's lots going on in the chart, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry. I'll talk you through the main points to remember, and um,
Can,
and
can
we'll
you
we'll go
can you
through
just
this.
zoom a little bit? Zoom in, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Can you also remind me before we go through my human design, what are different energy? Because here I see I'm projector. Could you
mhm.
explain a bit what are the others and what is the
Yeah, of
particularity of a
course.
projector?
So I'm actually gonna share a different screen because this one is shaky a little bit. So the projector is one of the 5 types in human design, and the type is how your energy works. This is all about energy, and this is like a system for understanding the flow of energy in your body. So you can almost think of
Mm-hmm.
it like 5 different types of people in a sense. All people are the same, but we have a different way that our energy works. And understanding your own flow of energy is so important to having a good life. And so the projector is a very specific energy type. We're actually called a non energy type because the two main energy types are generators and manifesting generators, and they generate the energy for everyone. And what that means is they will have a defined sacral. So this area over here is known as your sacral center, that block.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Okay.
generators and manifesting generators have that defined, which gives them this energy generation. As a projector, you don't have access to that energy. So we're a non-energy type. Now, projectors are very special because they are the guides, they are the seers. They can see things that other types can't. And for most of human history, we had a particular kind of leader that would lead through tyranny. But what's special about the projector is we are the new leaders of the world, but we're going to lead through the invitation. So the most important thing to understand is, of course, your type. How does your energy work?
Mm-hmm.
And then your strategy, how to use that energy. And you can see for the projector, it's being invited. So the way the energy works for the projector is we're here to share our insights and our gifts only when we're invited in to do so. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Oh man. Yeah. So if we want to talk a little bit about the energy of the projector, we get energy from people. We get energy when we are seen. And so each projector has something that they're really, really good at that they're here to share with everybody else. And when another person recognizes that gift, it will uplift the projector, it'll give them energy. And that's when they can share their gift. If the projector tries to share these gifts before they get that invitation, before they get that transfer of energy, they will actually push the other person away. They come across as very arrogant or bossy or rude, and it's really not their intention. And because this is how it happens for projectors, a lot of projectors don't want to share their gifts because they're used to everyone pushing back and feeling like it's rude because they didn't understand the invitation. This is why understanding human design will totally change your life because it
Mm-hmm. Okay.
starts to explain how you've been feeling your whole life. You're like, oh, this is why that happens. That's why that happens. So it's putting words to the things you felt most of your life. Whenever I talk human design with people, they're always like, oh, yes, that's exactly what I've been feeling. I was like, well, there you go. Yeah. So there is lots to understand. The main
Mm-hmm.
thing I use human design for is deconditioning. And what that means is we're all conditioned to think a certain way, to live a certain way, to believe certain things, but that doesn't mean it's true for you. And especially if you're like a projector. So each type has a percentage of how much of the world is that type. 20% of the world are projectors. And projectors are very, very different. So that means that you are different from 80% of all the people in the world, which is huge. So if you're trying to be like everybody else, you're going to get messed up. And this is what happens to so many projectors. Now, the type is about your energy, but also your aura. So the generator and manifest generators aura moves outwards. It's quite enveloping. It's going outwards. The projectors is very penetrating because they can see into the other person, but it's also very open. So it's very absorptive. It can absorb a tremendous amount of information. So most projectors are quite sensitive. And what happens is if we don't understand that this is how our aura works, we can get sick, we get burnt out. Most projectors are burnt out or dealing with some kind of illness or struggling in some way because they're trying to live like the 80%, the generators who have that energy. But the projector's aura is also reaching out into the whole world. And so it's touching all the different people's lives all the time. And based on how you maintain your energy, maintain your aura, and how you see yourself and your beliefs, it's who it's touching. And so the real trick with the projector is to realize that if you believe in yourself and you trust your energy and you trust your authority, we'll get into that just now, the right people will find you at the right times because your aura is gold. It's very special, but it's only special if you can see it. So what happens to projectors is we're so thirsty for recognition. We want everyone to see us because that's what makes us feel good. That's what gives us energy. And we try to tell people how special things are and what we can see and maybe can see into them. And a lot of people don't like that. So we get a lot of pushback. So we think there's something wrong with us and we shut down and you don't believe in yourself anymore. Now you've closed off your aura. Your aura is very dull. It's very dark. But the main thing for the projector is lightness. It's supposed to be light. You're supposed to feel light in your day and in your life and as you're moving through. And it can only feel light if you believe it can be light and if you make it light. But we make it very dark and heavy all the time because we're used to getting rejected and pushed away. So that's why deconditioning is so important, and it just gives you the tools to understand where to decondition. That's why I love human design. So it's like coming back to the truth of who you really are. So I mentioned your authority, and you can see it says the way you make decisions. And so yours is splenic because you have a defined spleen. We'll get into the definitions just now. But the spleen is the oldest part of the body. It's all about fear, survival, and instincts. It's a very, very old system, the oldest system in the body. So that's why it's a very primal system. So splenic authority is very much in the moment and very much intuition. And it's one of the more difficult authorities to manage because you really have to practice listening to that little voice. And so when the spleen speaks, it'll speak very quickly and then it's gone. So if you don't catch it or listen in that moment, then you've missed it. And so we have to really practice listening to the body, listening to that deep intuition. And one of the ways to understand intuition is that you can't explain it. You don't know why you know that. And it happens to me because I'm also a splenic projector. It's like, I don't know why I know that. And if you have to explain to someone, you'll sound crazy. That usually means it's your intuition. It's like a deeper wisdom. You following me so far?
But is it also linked to the fact I'm a 6'2"? Because the 6'2", it works based on his intuition, or it's...
No. So any profile, any type can have any profile. So it's because you're a projector. So only projectors get splenic authority.
Okay.
And projectors can have other authority as well. I think there's 5 different types of authority for a projector. But splenic is only for projectors.
Clear.
All people will get intuition, and all people should learn to listen to the intuition and build it in things. But for us in particular, because we are splenic, it's super important that we listen to that voice and we build that deeper understanding. So
it's good you're saying us, because I think people, they don't know that we are both projectors, so it's just good to remind them. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can go ahead.
Yeah, and there's probably other spinning projectors watching this. You know, some of my best friends are spinning projectors, which is kind of funny. We all tend to find each other. Um, yeah, so the profile, there's 12 profiles, and
Mm-hmm.
they consist of two different numbers. Those numbers come from, you see all these numbers here. This is your
Mm-hmm.
personality, and this is your design. And what that
Mm-hmm.
means is 3 months before you're born, there's a snapshot taken of the sky of the astrological positions. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're born, there's another snapshot taken. So the 3 months before, that's your design. And when you're born, that's your personality. And
Mm-hmm.
your design is unconscious. Your personality is conscious. So that's why you
Okay.
have two lines. There's the 6 and there's the 2. And so the
Oh,
sixth
okay.
line is all about it's called the role model. And the sixth line is quite a complicated line because they are very wise and very deep. And the sixth line goes through three very different stages in its life. So if you're a sixth line like you are, and your sixth line is the conscious line, it's what you're going to feel. The 2 is the natural, and that means you're naturally good at things, whatever they may be for you. And in fact, what happens with people with the 2 line is they're so good at something, they don't think they're good at it because it just comes so naturally to them. So often can't see their own gifts because it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's nothing, but it's actually a big deal because that's what you're here for. So when I work with a 2, I often encourage the things that they're really good at because they often don't even see it because they
Mm-hmm.
just used to be good at it. So the sixth line is quite different to other lines because it goes through three distinct stages in its life. So before
Mm-hmm.
you turn 30, the sixth line is actually a 3 line. And a 3 line is the trial and error. And what that means is like you're testing lots of different things. You're testing maybe relationships or jobs or locations. And for a lot of people with the 3 and the 6 can feel kind of very confusing before you're 30, some of them, because it feels like you don't really know what you want and you're trying lots of different things, going to different places. But as soon as you start getting to 30 or you hit 30 or just after 30, changes to the 6. And in human design, they talk about going onto the roof. So you're almost stepping back away from the world and you're looking down and you're just observing all these different things. And it's usually about till you're in your middle 40s that you come back down off the roof, and now you're the wise elder. You're starting to share your sage wisdom with everyone because you've spent this time testing lots of different things and now observing the world, putting all the information that you've gathered together in this deep understanding way, and then coming back down to share it with the world. Doesn't mean you can't do any of these at any other time. It's just like the general
Mm-hmm.
timeline. I
Yeah,
see it
I
with
understand. Mm-hmm.
6 3s, 6 2s. Um, yeah, and so they're actually here to inform the other profiles how things work. They're like the role model, that they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of a leader. So
Yeah.
that's what your profile says about you. And here it says the exemplary human, which is really beautiful. Now, the main things to understand with human design would just be these 5, I would say. There's a lot of other things in the chart which we can get to if we have time, but the
Mm-hmm.
main thing to understand is your type, which is your
Okay.
energy and your aura, how to make decisions with that, and what is the strategy for making decisions. Your profile, which is like your kind of your not really your personality, but like your theme in life, and then your not self. So what that means is like there's a specific way that Bruno is. And if you follow your strategy, you follow your authority, you'll be so closely aligned with that that you're living the best life that you came here to live. So that's what human design is. It's like a blueprint for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so beautiful because it's actually you. But when you're not living that way, when you're run by these beliefs that you've adopted about the world of how you should be or what you should be or how you should work or how you should live, then you step into the not self. And each type has a not self theme, a specific energy that's associated. For projectors, it's bitterness. And so
Okay.
most projectors become very bitter because life can be quite difficult for them. They don't understand what they're doing wrong. They don't understand why they're always tired or running into things, or people don't want to hear these amazing things that they know. So they become bitter. So whenever you're feeling the bitter, it means you're out of alignment.
Okay, and understand, it's clear. And but then can you go back to the graph and could you explain a bit more about what's the difference between the chakra which are empties and the
Mhm.
other ones which are full?
Sure thing. So they are like chakras, but the human design, so most people understand there's 7 chakras, but humans are evolving. And in the future, we will have many chakras in our hands and things like that. But for now, there are 9 new centers. So it's almost like the next evolution of us, these 9 centers. So they are exactly like chakras, but you'll see there's 9, so it's a little different. So the empty ones, we call them centers in human design. The empty centers means they are undefined. And what that means is you don't have reliable or consistent energy flowing through it. The colored ones means you do have reliable and consistent energy. And what that means is because each center has a theme, they have different gates, which are like specific kinds of frequencies or energy channels. And when you have let me give you an example rather. So
Yeah, sure.
you have your spleen, which is this one on
Mm-hmm.
the left here. That's why you're splenic authority, because you have a defined spleen. So the spleen is all about survival, instincts, health, and things like that. So you can trust better than someone with an undefined spleen what's good for you, because you have reliable energy moving through that center. You can understand um, your own your health, what's good for you. Your immune system will usually be a bit stronger than an undefined spleens person. Most people with undefined spleens tend to get a bit sicker more often, have weaker immune systems. And so there's like a knowingness in you about these things. And let's take the root. The root at the bottom here is
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 ways that pressure moves through the chart. It's up and down. So you actually have both defined, which means you have pressure from both sides. So the root is defined, so you have pressure in the root, and your head or your crown is defined, so you have pressure in the top.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is when you have a defined root is um, you might feel this like pressure to make things happen all the time, and the pressure is coming from you. So you have to notice when you're putting pressure on yourself that isn't there. Now, with people with an undefined root, they will feel other people's pressure. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
important for them to notice when they're feeling this pressure and stress. And it's like, oh, who is it coming from? Because it's not coming from me. And it's the
Okay.
same with the spleen. So, like, you will, people with an undefined spleen will pick up other people's fears much easier because you have a defined spleen. You can see their fears easier. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like this back and forth. So a great one to understand is the solar plexus, which is this one on the right. That's your
Yes.
emotional center. So you have an undefined, same as me, which means that we are non-emotional. And about 50% of the world is defined solar plexus, 50% is undefined. So 50% of the world's emotional, 50% is unemotional.
Yeah, when you
And
say non-emotional, you mean more rational. That's what you mean, right?
yeah, it also means like it doesn't mean that we don't have emotions.
Yeah.
It just
Mm-hmm.
means that usually, when we are feeling a lot of emotions, it's actually coming from somebody else. We are very sensitive to other people's emotions. And if we don't really know who we are, those emotions can overwhelm us a lot. And it can be very exhausting. So, an emotional person, if they have a defined solar plexus, they will have emotional authority, which means they can't make decisions when they're very happy or very sad because it's not going to be right for them. They have to learn to ride through the emotion, wait for emotional neutrality. But in those throws, they can throw us off a lot because they come here with all
Mm-hmm.
their emotions. We're very open because we're undefined emotional center, take on all those emotions, and it just clouds us and confuses us. So most non-emotionals, when they feel emotional, they're like, what's wrong with me? But it actually is somebody else. most emotionals is like, what's wrong with me? I'm feeling emotional. Who did this to me? So like we're actually looking the wrong way, both of us. It's such a funny paradox of it. So I had a roommate who was an emotional type, and he would be very emotional and like offload them a lot onto me. And because I'm so sensitive, I would like pick it up, and it would confuse me because I would start to think it's me, and I'd get muddled up in my day and in my thoughts. And I'd have to
Okay.
separate what's his and what's mine all the time. And he would often wake up emotional and be like, oh, somebody did this to me, or what's happening. But it's just part of being an emotional.
And would that be correct to say that we distort, we it's like we do distortion of this emotion, or it's how could you describe that?
That's
That kind of
perfect
thing?
description. Yeah. So the undefined centers take in that energy, we amplify it, and we distort it. So we like change it. So that same example, taking on somebody else's emotions will make them bigger, and will twist them, will distort them. So it's very confusing. That's why a lot of
Mhm.
people get so mixed up with so many different things. And what's so beautiful about human design is like we're always looking to complete our chart. So most people with an undefined spleen find someone with a defined spleen. Most people who are non-emotional find someone who's emotional. Like we're always bridging these gaps of energy in our chart. Um, yeah. So for example, you have this is called your ajna, which is
Mhm.
like your third eye in your chakras, and you have a defined one. So the ajna is all about ideas and thinking. So people with an undefined ajna are always thinking about things that don't matter, and they have to, in fact, that's one of the questions I give them to stop, is like, am I thinking about things that don't matter? But you are different. You can trust more of those thoughts that come through you because you have the definition. And in fact, you have gate 56 as your
Mhm.
highest gate. And if I look at your gifts, it's 56. And what that means is sharing your take on the facts of life. So you're actually meant to be about ideas and thinking and things. It's part of your chart and part of your design. And as we go deeper into it, you'll see how it all connects and relates. So, yeah.
Do you think that people who have it full have more, I mean, more abilities to take decisions, to take decisions? Because I have the feeling that when it's empty for people in this area, it's for them it's like they take time, they take time to, because they are not sure about it. You know, it's like it seems like it's they don't know if they should go right or left. Do you think that that's linked to this or not?
It's such a good question, and I used to think the same thing for a while, but I've met so many people with a almost fully defined chart that don't know really how to make decisions. But it's almost like a person with more definition can trust themselves more. A person
Hmm.
with more openness has to decondition a lot more. So every single person has deconditioning work to
Hmm.
do, and every single person will get like pros and cons. No one is better or worse, but humans are
Yeah.
humans, so we all have struggled to make good decisions. But with more definition, you could
Hmm.
rely on yourself a lot more. You
Yeah, but
wouldn't so
I was speaking specifically for the top of the head. You
uh,
know, yeah, this part I was going. I mean, that was more my
yeah,
question. Yeah.
I think so. Hey, I definitely think so because you have the crown, which is inspiration and like divine connection, and you have the ajna, which is thinking and ideas. So you could definitely trust your decision making a lot more than someone
Hmm.
without. So
Okay. Okay.
I have
Hmm.
an undefined crown, but I also have a defined ajna like you. So those ideas that come through, they're like really coming through for us. Someone without a defined ajna, it's you're probably thinking things that don't matter. So 70% of the world doesn't have a defined ajna. So 70% of the world's population are thinking things that don't matter.
Okay, that explains a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
what else I was going to ask? Yeah, you want to do you have anything you would like to add to this? Maybe talk a bit about channels. Um,
Yeah, definitely. So because it does look overwhelming with all the numbers and lines and things. So, like I said in the beginning, the most important thing is knowing your type and learning that. And when I coach someone, most of the beginning is learning your type, your strategy, your authority, and learning how to decondition around that. As we get a bit deeper, we go into the gates and the channels. So, the gates are all these numbers, and
Mm-hmm.
the white ones, they're undefined. The colored gate means that there's energy flowing through there, and wherever there's a gate, you'll see that there's a line connected to it. So um, you'll see there's a gray line and there's darker lines. The darker lines means there's more energy flowing through. So you could have that gate defined like 2, 3, or 4 times. So it's a very strong energy. That's why, like later, knowing what gates you have and channels can give you a very good clue as to like your gifts and what you're trying to do. So when you have a gate that's defined, it's reaching, and we call this a hanging gate because it's not complete. So this gate 21 is reaching for gate 45. So you
Mm-hmm.
go and look up, I would look up for you. I don't remember all the gates, there's a lot. But you look up what gate that is, and on an unconscious or even conscious level, you will be reaching for whatever that energy is in your life, because that's what the hanging gates mean. So where two gates are connected, are defined and connected, then you have a channel. So here you've got 61 and 24, and you can see it's almost all dark, but all not. So that means you have double or triple definition here and double definition here. So there's lots of energy flowing through, and they're connected. So now we go and look up what that channel is, 6124. So I wrote it here actually,
Mm-hmm.
channel of awareness, the thinker, which is the pressure to work everything out, to answer every question, to focus attention on challenges of the collective, to relieve frustration and find peace. Now that's quite a specific type of energy. And I can see in your face it's resonating quite a lot with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that means that that's a big theme in your life. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
channels means. It's like the themes that run through your body. And a lot of people have like one or two or three or four channels, and it's kind of what's directing their life in some way on an unconscious level. You also have another channel, which is down
I
here,
think,
because you've only got
yeah.
two.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say something?
Yeah, that's no, no, that's correct. It's the channel of struggle, I think.
It is indeed, my man. You didn't have to struggle anymore now, Bruno. You're safe. So this, you got two centers here with two gates as well. So you can only have a channel in defined centers. So if you have undefined
Mm.
centers,
Yeah, makes sense.
you have hanging
Mm-hmm.
gates. So you got
Mm-hmm.
the spleen and the root connected. So as you understand the centers more, you understand like how that theme plays out. So this is the channel of struggle, which is survival, empowers individuals, uses intuition to discern what causes to struggle for, stands up and fights for a cause no matter what, regardless of the rules and established norms. Damn, it's pretty profound. So again, that's quite a specific thing. That's quite a theme in your life that you might find in different areas. And again, you've got like the light gray and then a darker color, which means again lots of energy flowing through there. So based on those two channels, it's a lot about other people, the collective, individuals, and that's really what projectors are here for. We're here to help other people. We are here for others, and we can scroll down to your Incarnation Cross. This is like your life theme, like why you're really here. And there's
Okay.
those gates. And if we look here, it's these two gates, the top two, and then the second two, which
Okay.
is your sun and your earth. And it's a left angle cross of distraction. There's lots of incarnation crosses, so I don't know specifically what this one means, but I will find it for you. But
Okay.
the left
Sure.
angle, you get a left angle, a right angle, and a juxtaposition. Juxtaposition is super rare. Only like 1% of the world have it, and they have a very specific destiny. But the right angle people, it's a personal destiny, and the left angle people like you and like me, it's a transpersonal destiny, which means that we're here for other people. Our lives are not about us so much. They are about us, but we're actually here to help others. And your two channels are all about helping other people as well. So it's
Mhm.
very interesting. Yeah.
Nice. I see. Also here we have my strongest sense is feeling. Um,
Yes.
environment. It's mountains. That means that's the place I feel the most comfortable.
Yeah. So human design goes deep into all things like your environment, your taste, all these kind of things. So your environment is like exactly that, where you feel most comfortable and where your energy will feel its best. You can also say it like
Okay.
that.
Mm.
And get different types of mountains. You get active
Mhm.
mountains and passive mountains. So
Okay.
getting anywhere like up high, like on a mountain, or spending time alone where you can relax, or being high
Mhm.
up in a building, um, all of these kind of things will give you a greater awareness and suit your energy the best. You probably feel the most peaceful in those kind of things, but you don't want to be like down in the trenches or somewhere where it's really low or low energy and things like that. Spending time away from other people because the mountains are quite secluded and things like that. So there's another chart we can do to find out if you're an active or a passive mountain. It gets a little bit more specific. Um,
Okay.
you're looking
Thanks.
at my page.
Uh, I think I mean it's just amazing, and thank you for all this information on Projector. Could you shortly also describe the others kind of energy, because you talk a bit about generators, manifesting generators. What are the others?
Yeah, so there's the generator, the manifestor, the manifesting generator, which has both of those powers, the projector and the reflector. And so the generators and manifesting generators are like building all the energy. They're here to build and create and do because they've got that sacral, that define, that generation energy. The manifestors are here to initiate. Manifestors are quite rare. They're only 9% of the population, but they're here to initiate and start new things. And it's quite difficult for the manifestors. They struggle a lot when I have manifesting clients. They have a lot of challenges. We'll get into that. But they used to be the old leaders of the world. Like I said in the beginning, they were leading through tyranny because they initiate and then tell people what they're doing. But the projectors are now the new leaders. And the last type is the super rare, which is the reflector, which is only 1% of the total population. And they are here to show us ourselves. So a reflector has zero definition in their chart. They're completely
Hmm.
open aura, completely open center, and they reflect back to the person themselves. So if a person's not ready to see themselves, they'll get very upset with the reflectors. So again, reflectors usually have a very tough time, but they're super important. So if the generators and manifestors are doing everything, the the manifestors are starting everything. The projectors are seeing where everyone should place their energy and everywhere it should go, and the reflectors are showing us ourselves.
Mm.
So it's this
Well
beautiful
described.
orchestra of all these different types working together. It's super cool.
Yeah, that's I think I mean it's really it's well described. Thank you for that. I think it's really I mean it was really clear, and I guess you also you do this with your client as well. Like you people contact you to go through their chart, and you also help them with this. Here we just went more I mean in general, but you also have gates. You can work also on gates as well and so on. So um, this is something that you do, right? You also teach people about their graph and trying to
Yeah.
help
So
them to understand themselves better, right?
100%. So I'm a human design coach because learning this stuff is really cool. But the problem I ran into the beginning is you don't really know what to do with it. And you
Hmm.
definitely don't know how to take all this information and start to change your day to day life. That's why you need a coach to start to break down what's important, because the other thing that can happen is it's very overwhelming. There's so much. We did quite a deep dive, but we were only still just scratching the surface of all of the information. And so you need someone who can understand where you are, understand the conditioning you've been through, and relate to you on a one-to-one level, and then guide you through the necessary steps to start to decondition, start to listen to your authority, start to understand yourself a lot better. So yeah, I do this with all my clients, and I offer also human design coaching one-on-one, because I just think it's the best thing that you can learn.
Okay, that's cool, and thank you for this session. We'll post that on social media so that people who are interested, or who are also interested in knowing more about their human design, they can just contact you and and book a session with you.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was really nice. I'm really, I mean, just happy and grateful for this, and yeah, and I appreciate you know